Welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to bring you an updated tutorial on creating a finance tracker in Notion using the all-new Notion Formula 2.0. In this finance tracker, you'll find a powerful suite of features designed to simplify your financial life. It offers easy navigation, comprehensive account management, budgeting tools, income goal tracking, and seamless expense and income records. You can make quick transfers between accounts and manage subscriptions effortlessly. Plus, our goals feature helps you track your financial aspirations. In this tutorial, we'll walk you through how to set up each of these features in your finance tracker. Let's start by creating a new page called Finance Tracker 2.0. This will become our main dashboard page. Add an icon as you like. Next, change the page setting to have smaller font size and FLL width. This will give us more space to setting up our dashboard later on. Next, create a page called Database. This will be used to store all of our databases. We're starting by creating an account database. This is where we'll keep track of all your financial accounts in one place. Delete the unnecessary rows and properties. You can rename this column to account name. Next, let's add select property to categorize or accounts into saving account, checking account, cash or business account. You can change the color of each category. In this tutorial, I changed the color to all light grays to make it uniform. Next, let's add a new property to set our initial account amount. In this tutorial, I changed the number format to USD currency, but you can also change to your local currency. Next, let's create a new account default template. Whenever we want to add a new account, the account format and icon will be automatically the same, so you don't need to waste your time setting up the icon and other default properties. After you make the template, don't forget to set the template as default. So when you add a new account, this template will be applied automatically. Let's add some accounts here. You can always change the initial amount as you like. In this tutorial, I will start all account with 0 initial amount. Okay, we will leave this account database as it is, and later we will revisit it again to add relations and formula to make our database become functional. Next, we will create a database for our expense budgeting. As usual, rename the database and delete the unnecessary properties. You can rename this column to expense type. Next, add a new number property to set our monthly expense budget. Now, we can add each expense type one by one. Let's assign the monthly budget for each expense type. In this example, I set my monthly budget for food is $500, for utilities is $500 as well, and so on. You can always adjust the budget according to your condition. Same as previous database, let's leave this budget database as it is and later we will configure it. Next, we are going to make an income type and target database. This database will be used to categorize our income source, whether it is from main job, business, bonus, and so on. You can also plan your income target for each month. Same as usual, rename the database and delete the unnecessary properties. Now add the monthly income target by adding number property. Let's list out our income types one by one. Now, let's set the income target for each category. Leave this database as it is and we will revisit it later. Okay, let's continue to create an income record database. This database is used to record our income details, including the income amount, date, category, receiving account, and so on. Rename the database and remove unnecessary properties. Next, add a date property to record the date of our income. Next, add a number property to record our income amount. You can also add text property to add additional note to your income record. Now, let's create a default template for income record. Set the date to today, so when you add a new record, it will automatically select today's date. Don't forget to make the template default. Let's add an example income record. Okay, our initial income database looks good, and we will leave as it is. Good job. Now let's create our expense record database. Rename the database and delete unnecessary properties. Next, let's add a date properties to record our expenses. We also need to create a number property to record the expense amount. You can also add a text property to add some notes of the expense. If you want to attach your expense receipt, you can add Files property. This will allow you to attach any file type such as image, PDF, and so on. Okay, now to make our life easier, let's create a default template for expense record. Let's create an example of expense record. Let's continue to create our transfer record database. This database will help us to record when we moved our money to another account or to fund our financial goals. As always, rename the database and remove unnecessary properties. Okay, lend W a date property to record the date of our transfer activity. Next, create a number property to record the transfer amount. We also need to differentiate the transfer activities, whether it is just moving money between accounts, moving to saving account, or funding to the financial goals. Again, let's create a default transfer record template. Okay, now let's add an example of transfer record. It is still incomplete because we have not yet set up the relation property that will allow us to record the transfer from which account and to which account. We will set up this later. Great, now we are going to create subscription database which will be used to track our recurring payment. Rename the database and delete the unnecessary properties. Add a select property to create the billing period of the subscription, whether it is monthly, quarterly, or yearly. We will also need to create a subscription status to track whether it is still active or not. Next, create the billing amount property. Don't forget to create a default template for the subscription tracker. Okay, now we will create a formula property to convert the quarterly and yearly billing amount to monthly amount. You can follow the formula as shown in the screen. Alright, now let's add some subscriptions billings such as Netflix. The last database that we want to create is Financial Goal Database. This database is used to set and track our financial goals such as emergency fund, saving for a dream vacation, and so on. Rename the database and remove the unnecessary properties. Next, create an initial and target amount properties. Financial goal usually has a target date, that's why we need to create a date property to set the target date. Add a checkbox property to indicate when the goal is complete. You can also add a cover image for your financial goals to make it more aesthetic. As always, don't forget to create a default financial goal template. Okay, let's add some example for our financial goals. Great, our initial database setup is complete. On the next chapter, we will make the database become more functional by adding some relations and formula. To make our finance track become functional, we will establish crucial relations between expense records, accounts, and expense budget. First, head to your expense records database and add a relation property with expense budgets database. This relation creates a clear financial web, ensuring you can track your spending in line with your budget and understand where your money is going. You can rename the relation here. In this example, I rename it to expense type. Now you can select the category of your expense. Next, we will create a relation between expense record and account database. This is to connect expenses to the respective accounts they came from. Now you can select from which account you buy the coffee. Now, we're going to craft a formula that flags expenses occurring within the current month, marking them with their respective amounts. If an expense falls outside this month, the formula will set the amount to 0. This step is vital for our upcoming discussion on budgeting. You can follow the formula as shown on the screen and make sure no typing error. Let's test our formula. If we change the expense date to previous month, it should return to 0. Great, the formula is correct. Same as the expense record, now we will establish connections between income record database with account and income type and target database. Start by heading to your income records database and add a relation property with income type and target database. Now you can select your income category. Alright, next let's do the same steps to create a relation between income record and account database. Now you can select the receiving account of your income. Same as previous steps, we're going to create a formula that flags income occurring within the current month, marking them with their respective amounts. If an income falls outside this month, the formula will set the amount to 0. This step is critical for our next discussion of income target. You can rewrite the formula as shown on the screen. If you change the date to previous month, it will return to 0. Next, we are establishing essential connections to transfer record database. We will create relation to the account database twice because we will set the transfer from which account and to which account. We will also connect with goal database so we can transfer fund to our financial goal. Start by going to the transfer database. Now create a new relation with account database and rename the property become from, meaning you will transfer money from this account. Do the same step to add relation with account database and rename the property become to, meaning you transfer money to this account. Okay, now you can select the account you transfer from and account that receive your transfer. Next, we also need to set up a relation between transfer record and goal database. This will allow us to transfer fund to our financial goals. Now, let's illustrate this with an example. We'll transfer funds to our emergency fund. Remember, when you transfer fund to financial goal, leave the to account column empty. Alright, now let's go back to the expense budget database. Here you will see the related expense record and its respective category. Now let's create a roll-up property to retrieve the total expense this month. Roll-up property helps you aggregate data in your databases based on relations. Here you will see the total expense within this month for each category. Next, let's create a formula to show the budget utilization status. Now, you will see the percent utilization of your budget. We will create some labels by using formula property. These labels will be explained and used in the next chapter. You can just follow the steps. Very good. Now we will set up our income target database. Basically, the idea and step are pretty similar with previous expense budget. First, let's create a roll-up property to retrieve the total income within this month for each income category. Now, we will create a formula to show the monthly income target status. As you can see, if the income is higher or equal to the target amount, it will show that it is on target. Next, let's create labels. This will be discussed in the next chapter. Very good. Next, let's set up our account database. Feel free to customize the icons of relation properties to enhance the visual appeal. You can also change the transfer name to become transfer out or transfer in to make it more intuitive when we create formula later on. Okay, now create a roll-up property to retrieve the total income for each account. Continue to create a roll-up properties to get the total expense and total transfer out and total transfer in. You can resize the column width to make it more compact. Continue creating roll-up property to get the total transfer out and total transfer in. Now, let's create a formula to calculate the current balance of each account. To get the current balance, the formula is simple. Just add the initial amount plus total income plus total transfer in minus total expense and minus total transfer out. Perfect. Now create a label by using formula property. We will discuss it later on. Okay, this is the last database that we will set up. Let's go to the goals database. First, create a roll-up property to retrieve the total funded amount. Next, create a formula to calculate the total balance of our financial goal. The formula is just adding initial amount with funded amount. Great, if you want to know the progress of your goals, you can create a formula to calculate the percent progress. We can also add a roll-up property to show the accounts that has funded our goals. Perfect. Now, create some labels by using formulas. Now, in this chapter, we will set up our dashboard page to match this layout displayed on the screen, but you will always have option to configure as you like. Okay, first of all, head back to the Finance Tracker dashboard page. Create a 2-column block to separate the left and right section. Let's create a collapsible navigation menu by using toggle block. Create menu pages for account, income, expense, transfer, subscription, and goals. To make it easier, you can just duplicate the page and rename the page. Okay, leave the page as it is and we will configure them later on. You can add a link to the navigation text with Finance Tracker link, so when you click it, it will redirect you to the main dashboard. Perfect! Now let's create the first section for our account management. Add a heading 3 block and name it as account. You can also change the color background. Add a divider to make it look better. Okay, now we can show our account database in this dashboard page. Hide the database name and change the database view to gallery view. Now we can show some properties that are essential and hide the other properties that are not critical. Here we will show the label that we have created before. This label will be useful to indicate the properties that we want to show. Cool! You can duplicate this view to create another table view if you need it. Hide the properties that are not important. Perfect, our account section is now complete. Okay, let's continue to add section for budgeting. Add heading 3 block and divider, same as previous steps. Now we can show the expense budget database. Rename the database view and change the view to gallery view. Next, we can show the important properties and labels that we have created before. Perfect. Next, let's also add income target database view. Follow the same steps. We have done very good so far. Let's continue to add section for income records. To make easier, you can just copy and paste from the previous section and then rename it. Now, let's add income database view. We renamed the view to this month income because we only want to show the income records within this month. Change the database view to list view. And show the necessary properties. Now, add filter to only show income within this month. If you want to see all income record, not only this month, you can add another income record database view to show all the records. We can hide properties that we don't want to see. To make this record not too long, we can add grouping based on each month. Let's try to add income record for the previous month in October. It will disappear on the main view this month, but you can always see it on the All Records view. Okay, next we will do exactly the same steps for our expense section. Add expense records database view. Change to list view. Add another view to show all expense records. Alright, let's continue to create transfer record section. Basically, the steps are pretty similar from the previous sections. Add the transfer records database view and change the view to list view. Create a filter to only show records within this month. Next, create another view to show all of the transfer records. Perfect. Next, let's create the subscription section. Add subscription database view. Add a filter to only show the active subscription. Next, create a new database view to show all of our subscription, whether it is active or inactive. Okay, now we are heading to the last section, which is goals section. Add the goals database view and change the view to gallery. To show the cover image that we have uploaded before, change the card preview to cover. Now, show the important properties that you want to see. You can also show the complete checkbox. So when the goals is completed, you can mark the checkbox. Finally, add a filter to only show the incomplete goals. Okay, now we will add some quick buttons to our navigation menu. This quick button will help you to record the transaction quicker. First, let's create quick button for adding expense record. Select the expense record database. Add a next step to open the expense record that we have just added. Do exactly the same steps for adding income, record, and transfer quick buttons. Okay, after we created the quick buttons, let's try to test them. Let's add a new expense record by clicking the Expense Quick button. Great, our expense is successfully added into the expense database, as you can see here. Continue to test the income and transfer quick buttons to check whether it is functioning properly or not. Perfect. All buttons are working fine. Well done, guys. Now our dashboard page and navigation menu are complete. Let's continue to configure each navigation menu one by one. First, copy the navigation menu by blocking and press Ctrl+C in Windows. Next, open the account menu, then create to column and paste the navigation menu. Choose Paste and Sync. Okay, now go back to the dashboard menu and copy the account database view that we have created before. Paste them into the account menu. Next, let's also add account view based on account category. Show the balance amount, property, and label. You can also rearrange the account. Okay, next, let's configure our income menu. First, copy the navigation menu and paste it into the income menu page. Go back to the dashboard page and copy the income target section. Delete the expense budget view because we don't need it in this section. If you are more convenient using table view of income target, you can add another database view. Okay, now go back to the dashboard page and copy the income record section and paste it into the income menu page. Perfect. Our income menu page is complete now. Let's continue to configure our expense menu page. Same as previous steps, copy the navigation menu and paste it into the expense menu page. Now, go back to the dashboard and copy the budgeting view. Delete the income target view because we don't need it. You can also add another table view of expense budget database. Go back again to the dashboard and copy the expense record section. Good, our expense menu is complete. Okay, perfect. Now let's configure our transfer menu page. As usual, copy the navigation menu and paste inside the transfer menu page. Go back to the dashboard page and copy transfer record section. You can add another view by categorizing the transfer based on transfer type. Cool. Now our transfer menu page is ready. Alright, now continue to configure our subscription menu page. Copy the navigation menu and paste it inside the subscription menu. Go back to the dashboard and copy the subscription section. We can separate the subscription into two sections to distinguish which subscription is still active and inactive. Finally, we will configure the last navigation menu page, which is the Goals menu. Copy the navigation menu and paste it inside the Goals menu. You can add another view if you are more comfortable using table format. Next, let's add funding record section. Copy Transfer Records section from Dashboard and paste it into the Goals menu. Filter to only show the funding type transfer. Let's do some tests to our finance tracker to check if it works perfectly or not. First, we can create a new account. You can rearrange the properties and hide some properties that are not really important to see. Let's put initial amount in this new account. Okay, now let's try to change the monthly expense budget. As you can see, if we change the budget amount, the percent utilization will also change. Alright, now test one by one our income, expense and transfer records. As you can see, when we add new business income, the PayPal balance will increase. Let's add new expense record using our new account that we have created before. As you can see here, the account balance will decrease because we paid expense using this account. Okay, now let's add some transfer records between account. Since we transferred money to our Capital One account, its balance will increase. Let's try to transfer fund to our emergency fund. As you can see here, the goals balance is increased. Perfect. Now we have successfully created a simple but powerful finance tracker template. Alright, I am very excited to give you an exclusive sneak peek into a tool that's going to transform the way you manage your finances. Introducing the WealthOS Notion template. Before we dive into the details, let's start with the heartbeat of your financial universe, the dashboard page. This is your go-to hub, your financial command center, where you get a real-time snapshot of everything that matters. Our journey begins with powerful account management. Easily organize all your financial accounts, from checking and savings to investments and credit cards. You can also track your current net worth. Planning your financial future has never been easier. Our robust planning and budgeting suite empowers you to set monthly income target, track your spending, and keep an eye on your top expenses. The transaction records section is where you can log every financial move from income and expenses to investments, loan repayments, and even money owed to you. Don't let bills catch you off guard. Our bills and subscriptions section acts as your personal financial assistant, reminding you of due dates and tracking your total spending. Saving for the future is a breeze with our dedicated saving planner. Set your monthly savings goals, compare them to your actual savings, and watch your financial dreams unfold. In the investment management page, you can keep track of your assets, monitor profit or loss, and check stock using embedded live charts, all in one place. Your empire deserves meticulous care. The assets management section covers everything from bank accounts, property, precious metals, vehicle to business ownership, giving you a panoramic view of your financial kingdom. You can also track people that borrow your money. Conquer financial hurdles effortlessly with the liabilities management section. From loans to credit cards, manage them seamlessly, ensuring you stay on top of your financial game. Setting and achieving financial goals is a breeze. With the goals and reporting feature, track your progress and generate insightful reports, helping you stay on the path to financial success. You will also have other useful pages such as financial event. Never miss an important financial event again. Knowledge is power. The resource library lets you capture essential financial resources and even keep track of the financial books you're diving into. To help tracking of your financial records, you will also have these quick buttons to easily add any transaction records. There you have it, a glimpse into the WealthOS Notion template, your all-in-one financial powerhouse. If you're ready to take control of your financial destiny, check the link in the description to get started today. Thank you for joining me on this video tutorial. Happy budgeting, and I'll catch you in the next video.